evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Justin Smith.
And I'm Alec Haydock.
And today we are bringing you a special news report about the current zombie invasion that is hitting the United States. But first, local hero Huckleberry Finn saves the slave Jim.
Alright, let's shift over to Chris Anderson and he can interview Huck and Jim.
Hello, viewers of MNN. I am a new reporter for the show, Chris Henderson, and today I got two guests here, Huck Finn and Jim, and I'm going to interview them on their recent exploits in escaping Jim's freedom. Alright, so first question. Huck, why did you decide to leave your life behind to help a slave you barely even knew escape to freedom?
Well, I was at home, and my father, he was always mean to me. He abused me. So I just want to do something real with my life, and I saw Jim, and Jim didn't want to leave his kids, so I wanted to make sure he would have a good life, and I wanted to have a good life, so I helped him out.
And what kind of things did your father do that made you want to leave?
He would chase me around the house, and he would chase me with a knife.
So emotional. What was life as a slave like?
Well, it wasn't that bad, but I knew it was going to be sold to Louisiana, and I knew I wanted to get to freedom so that my children and my rest of my family would get to freedom too. And so that's why I escaped to freedom with Huck.
Alright, and what were some of the things you guys did or encountered on your journey down to freedom?
Well, we ran into two men that called themselves the Duke and the King, but really I knew that they weren't really a king and a duke, they were just imposters. So we learned that people in the world aren't really who they really are.
And what did you think of those people, Jim?
Well, at first I thought that they were really kings and dukes, but I found out later from Huck that they weren't, and at first I really embraced them, and then Huck made sure that they didn't get away with what they were doing.
Alright, so Huck, you mentioned in your autobiography that Jim was sold back into slavery by the Duke and the King. When you found out of that, how did that make you feel?
It just made me feel torn inside, because I didn't think they would ever go against us like this. I thought they would at least go decent enough to not do that. But so the first thing I thought was, I gotta save Jim. I've been worked all this time with Jim, and now they're just gonna give him away like this, and I couldn't let that happen.
And what did it feel like for you, Jim, to be put back into slavery after coming so far?
Well, thinking that they were actually a king and a duke, I felt betrayed because I helped them so much when they first were with us. So I felt really hurt, and I thought that I had lost again because I was back into slavery.
Alright, so Huck, tell me what it was like trying to get Jim out of slavery again for the second time, and how you accomplished that.
Well, Tom and I, we worked really hard. We spent a lot of time. Tom kind of put through stuff that wasn't necessary, and I didn't see the meaning in it. But I don't know. We worked hard. We spent countless nights and hours trying to get him free because we cared a lot about him.
Alright, and Jim, what was it like to finally have that freedom?
Well,
so desperate for?
I first thanked Huck for all what he did for me, and even though Tom had kind of pushed us away from that freedom, I also thanked him too, and it was the greatest feeling in the world, and I knew that I had to go back with my family to get them to freedom as well.
Alright, well, thank you, sir, for interviewing us. I appreciate it. See you later.
Alright, well, that concludes our interview with Huck Finn and Jim. I'm Chris Henderson, and have a nice day.
I'm trying not to laugh.
That makes it worse. You're like,
Okay, I seriously gotta stop.
Alright, ready?
That was great. That was
I
awesome.
can't. Alright. Good afternoon, viewers. What?
Alright, this is getting annoying.